everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Anastasia Mili, a watercolor artist from Australia, and I'm glad you have found me. After quite a few years of being here on this channel and doing my painting demonstrations, a few weeks ago I posted my very first vlog, which was quite a brave step for me because I'm quite an introvert. So looks like so many of you, my dear viewers, enjoyed it, so I am definitely continuing with this series, and also it was fun to create the first one. So in this video I'm taking you on a little tour of my home studio, which is not a separate room or anything, it's just a little corner of our open plan kitchen and living area. I love being in this space. It's my favorite corner of our house, and so many happy hours have been spent here making art. So I'm going to tell you about the furniture, the light, also what I use in the evenings when it's too dark to light up my creative space. I will tell you about some space-saving solutions, and because there was a question about that, I will tell you about what's on my desk. And in the last vlog, in my first one, I was showing you the landscapes I was working on, and all of them are now finished, and one is a failed painting, so at the end of the video I'm going to share them with you as well. So first let's talk about the furniture, the biggest things. So my desk is actually a dining table from IKEA. I was painting on a fold-out camping table for probably 3 years because during COVID, when I had to set up this space because I lost our home office space to my husband because he started working from home, I had to quickly set up this area, and all the shops were closed, so I didn't have a camping table, so I used that for years, but I didn't like the feel of plastic and I was looking for a proper desk. Now the problem is I needed it to be quite deep, and I couldn't find a desk that was big enough for my needs because it needed to hold my computer, it needed to have enough space to paint, and it needed to have lots of space to store all the other stuff that I use in my studio. And eventually, after a couple of years of looking, I realized that I actually needed a dining table, and it works so well. I love this surface. I also wanted a nicer background for my YouTube videos. You might remember my early videos. Actually, up until a couple of years ago, they had this plastic background, and I wanted to change that, so this is so much nicer. Now, it is a light color, so it's always covered in splatters of paint, but it's fine. And talking about space-saving solutions for watercolor artists, I think chests like these ones, and I have two, are wonderful, as the drawers are slim and you can store a ton of different watercolor supplies there. I keep my paint, paper, finished painting, some packing supplies, some techie stuff that I use for my channel, my spare palettes, my scrap paper, all in these. So one of these is under my desk and another one is to the left side of it, so I can easily reach and grab what I need from there. Also, I have around 300 painting videos on my channel, and every single one of them is stored here in this single drawer. I often place my works in progress that I'm stuck on top, and I can glance at them from time to time when I'm just walking around the house, which often sparks ideas on how to move forward with a particular unfinished piece. And my plant friend lives here too. It is quite happy here and it makes my studio corner brighter. Now let's talk about the lighting here, which is obviously really important for a painting studio. I have indirect light coming in from pretty much all sides. I also have a skylight above me, and it gives me this really soft, really diffused light, and this is perfect because I have really soft, really lovely, never direct light, never direct sunlight illuminating my working space. Now when it's too dark, I use these ring lights that are very economical. You can get them anywhere these days, and I find that it's actually a really light, very compact solution for creating pretty much daylight-like brightness when you paint in the evenings or when it's like an overcast day. I have recently also invested in proper video lights. with the ring light and also with these lights, the good thing is that you can adjust the temperature of the light, so you can make it warmer or cooler, and that pretty much covers all the needs. So one of my most favorite things, and one of the countless things I love about watercolor, is just how compact everything is. And you do not need much space to make art on a regular basis, because it's not massive canvases, it's just a sheet of paper, and you do not need to have a standalone separate studio. Of course, it's my dream to have a, I don't know, like a granny flat in our backyard where I would just retreat and immerse myself in making art, but it is not realistic, and I paint at home and this small area is enough. Watercolor doesn't really stain much, it doesn't smell, and paints come in smaller tubes, so they don't take much space. You can even have like a little box with your art supplies stored somewhere, and then you can pull it out and set yourself up somewhere and then pack it all away, and it doesn't take much time. Now, I know that I'm very lucky to have this space where I can store my things, and they're always set up and ready to go. So my water jars are always full, my palette is always on my desk, my paper is just here. So to see it in our living space is also very inspirational, and I love living like this, surrounded by my art supplies. So there are no excuses not to make art. Everything is already here, everything is on display, and if I have half an hour free that day, I can quickly jump here and get out my sketchbook and make a quick sketch. So I love this about watercolor, because it's so easy to actually keep going. It's easy to keep making art just because of how compact, how small it is. And I have been painting on a regular basis for around 7 years now, so I have accumulated quite a few paintings. If I was a painter who used acrylics or oils and painted on canvas, I'm not even sure where I would store that many paintings. I love having my art books next to me when I paint too. So this is a small bookshelf right next to my desk, and I often grab a book off the shelf and flick through the pages when I need a little break. Also, my sketchbooks are stored there as well. So sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, I can pick up one of my sketchbooks. So it's nice to have everything close by and on display. I think it's very important to surround ourselves with the things we love and the things that inspire our creativity. I'm also a photographer, and I also love Lego, so I have quite a few Lego sets sitting here as well in my space. And I have a thing for lighthouses and bridges. I've always been drawn to them, and you have seen quite a few watercolors of lighthouses on my channel and on my Instagram. And to me, lighthouses symbolize guidance, protection, hope. They stand tall and they offer light and direction when things feel uncertain. That's what they symbolize to me. And bridges, on the other hand, they represent connection, transition, moving forward. And I think they link places that used to be separate. And this inspires me a lot. And that's why I think looking at these pictures and looking at this lighthouse, it always reminds me of what I am drawn to, what I'm inspired by. And having things like this, things that inspire you, things that you love, it's one of the ways to find inspiration for your new work as well. So when I was setting this up, I wanted to make sure that I had enough space to paint while also keeping all the supplies close to me, so it would be as easy as possible for me to make art with minimal interruptions. And it has been working really well over the years. I don't really need to get up and go somewhere to grab what I need. It is all here. I sorted my brushes into a few different containers, so I do not have to waste my time rummaging through them looking for a particular brush. I have my laptop here too, so I can look up a photo reference if needed. So the deeper desk slash dining table really helps with that. And the hair dryer used for drying washes is always under my desk, so I can easily grab it. Also tissues, water bottles, masking, it's all here at arm's reach, so it makes it really easy not to waste time on looking for things. They're all easily available for me to grab and start using. My mixing palettes are ceramic, made by a dear friend who is a very talented local ceramicist. I love these so much. They feel nice, they feel very solid, and I enjoy the feeling of my brush gliding along this smooth surface. It's so much nicer than plastic. Plus, I find that plastic palettes stain quite badly. And this one, the smallest one, which I find absolutely adorable. I love using it for playing with different color mixes. For example, when I add a new color to my collection, then I mix it with different other ones that I already have, and I think the wheels are perfect for creating color swatches. And this one, I use it, excuse the state of it, I use it for freshly squeezed paint, and in many cases it would be either lunar black or tundra violet, because these very heavily granulating colors, I do find that they perform best when they are fresh out of the tube. I also have a porcelain palette somewhere, couldn't find it. It's a good choice as well compared to plastic. Ceramic palettes are not particularly compact, of course, so they work best as studio palettes. And I think all these look beautiful just sitting on my hardwood desk. Oh, and the same friend made these lovely matching brooches. I think they're so cute. Just very adorable. I also asked her to make me a necklace with the same exact one, so I'm looking forward to getting that. Now my well palette, I did talk about it in one of my art materials videos. It is by Meeden. It originally came with just one tray, but I have a few of these, so I took out this tray out of my spare one and it fits perfectly in here. Now I cannot close it, but it's okay because I always keep this open on my desk, and I pretty much just always paint at home. I'm not a plein air painter. I love that each well is slanted, and also all of them are large enough for pretty much my largest brush to fit into, which is important to me. Now this palette is quite extensive, so I have lots and lots of different colors here. So I have this map that is hanging above my desk for when I need to know which color is in which particular well. Some of them are my most used ones, so I clearly know where they are. Some of them I'm not exactly sure what that color is, so I refer to that map hanging above my desk. And also above my desk I have this thing that I haven't updated for a while. It probably needs a good update, but this is a color wheel that I created out of the paints on my palettes. Now I have added quite a few different colors to my collection since then, so it needs a good review, but it helps me find complementary colors, and it's really important to understand color theory for any artist. This helps me make decisions on which color to pick if I want to, say, mix a neutral, or if I want to add more excitement to my color scheme in that particular painting by adding hints of complementary color. Also, I keep all my color wheels. I somehow ended up with 3. I use them constantly to make color decisions. I would struggle without them, and I think they are a crucial item to have in your studio, and they are a very compact tool that helps understand color theory. And I love this one because it's just a, it's a larger one, and it has lighter, more pastel colors and darker colors on different sides. And I enjoy this one because it gives me really dark options here and more neutral options as well. A few of you asked about this little box when it was sitting on my desk in my first vlog. So this was a birthday treat I picked up for myself at the Art Gallery of New South Wales shop. And inside is a set of beautifully printed cards, each one telling a story of a different pigment or color. On the front you get the info on where this pigment comes from and how it is made, and on the back there is more detail about the history of this color and how artists have used it over time, and there is also a famous artwork. And I have some of these colors on my palette, and it's such a beautiful feeling that we as artists are all connected through the use of color, and that old masters painted with the same pigments that we are still using today. It's like a thread running through the centuries, connecting us with the artists of the past. And also, I love learning about pigments. I have a few books on the topic, and these cards are such a fun, compact way to explore that world. It's like holding tiny pieces of art history in your hands. And talking about space saving, these caddies that are, I think these days they're pretty much sold everywhere. So I think this one is from IKEA. I've had it for years, but if you are in Australia, Kmart I think sells them, and sometimes Aldi have them on special buys as well. So this is perfect for storing everything. So technically you can just, and also has a handle, so you can carry it around the house if needed, and you can pretty much store all your watercolor supplies, especially if you're painting small. You can even store your sketchbooks in this larger compartment. And I like hanging my spray water bottle here as well. And I have 3 different types of spray bottles. This one has a finer mist. This one's just small and convenient to grab, and that one goes from a like a jet stream to a finer mist, and I again use it for different purposes, and that's why I have 3 of them on my desk. So remember those unfinished paintings that I was still working on when I did my first vlog? So all of them I finished, and let me show you what I did to them. So with this one, I literally just added these small areas of deeper color at the front. At first, I thought that something needed to be here to balance the boat. Then I thought the risk of disturbing this layer of paint was too high, so I decided not to go ahead with that idea. So just to balance the light and the tones a little bit and give more weight to the foreground, I just added this little area here, and I think lifted a few highlights, and it was done. So I like how minimalistic it is, and it's very simple, and the focus here is on the light spilling onto the boat. So I'm really happy with this one. It has been on my desk just sitting there for me to admire for the last few weeks, so I think this one is a success. So this is the Lunar Black piece, and what I did here, I softened the contrast in this area, and I think in this area as well, and I added a few piles of rocks and the grass and the splatters to the foreground to give again more weight to the foreground, so it would help to create more atmospheric depth in the piece. So again, quite happy with this one. I love the colors here, and I love the rich blacks, so this one is a success as well. Now this one definitely failed, so this is going to the scrap paper pile, and the problem with this is that it's just too heavy on granulation. There is granulation everywhere. There is granulation in the sky. There is granulation in the foreground, in the background, just everywhere. It's very, it looks like sooty to me. It's not a very nice look for a watercolor landscape. It's just too dull, and this is way too heavy for the sky. And despite the fact that I do like using Lunar Black, this is gray, so it doesn't give you this excitement, this contrast that the rich darks give you. But still, it's fine. You know, I do not really have a problem with failed paintings. They are necessary because that's how we learn. And we just need to understand that failed paintings are actually stepping stones on our journey, and they have a lot of value. So it's fine. There is another side to it, and I'm going to use it to either practice my brushwork or to do some color mixing. So this Australian landscape, the gum trees, I deepened the darks throughout. I also deepened the background when I showed it to you at first. I thought that the background was already deep enough in terms of the tonal values, but actually when I added the foreground and I added some of the details on the trunks, I realized that it was looking too flat, so I had to deepen some of the areas by adding dark greens there. I also really love the areas of lavender and how well it plays with the oranges here, and how much color harmony it creates with the greens as well. And lavender just always adds this little bit of extra to every landscape. And that's the last one. I added the boats. I didn't really add too much. I again deepened the foreground. I added the boats to make the focal points stronger and more interesting. And I darkened the area here, and I gave more detail to the rocks. So it was all pretty much about deepening the darks and strengthening the tonal value contrast. So I'm really happy with this one. It's autumn in Australia now, the days are cooler, and we do not really have many trees like this. We do, but just not, you know, everywhere. And painting these brought me this really calm feeling when the days are becoming shorter and the light is becoming softer. And we also get fog on the Hawkesbury as well. And autumn is my favorite season, so painting this was a nice way to celebrate it. Now, this is a very recent addition to my desk, and I still cannot believe that I have reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it's been a very interesting journey. When I started out, I, didn't even think that I would get here, but here we are, and I'm just so grateful for all of you. Knowing that my little videos inspire so many viewers to paint, to make art, makes my heart sing. It's so important, and I'm really glad that I can share this with you from this little home studio in this little corner of the internet. So thank you so much for watching my channel. As always, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments. Thank you for watching, and happy painting!